Good afternoon. This is Gary Richardson with the Southeast Caribbean Division of the American Red Cross. Today we'll be going over why we fill out a 6409, how we fill out a 6409, and what happens when we fill out a 6409 Disaster Requisition Form. First thing we're going to do is sign into Volunteer Connection. Once we sign in, we want to go ahead and log into the Exchange, connect to the Exchange. We have a single sign-on, so you should be able to be directed right there. And this process is just getting the form downloaded onto our computer. It's easy enough just to put in search 6409 and type enter. Scrolling down, it'll come right up. At this point, we can click on it, or we can just right-click and save link as to save it to our computer. I've already got it set to save in my Red Cross folder. As you can see, this is the form. I'm going to go ahead and save it and then open it up. So this is our standard fillable Disaster 6409. And as you're looking through, there's more than a few pages here. We've got Form 6409, and we call this the A, which is basically what the requester fills out. We have the instructions on the second page. The third page is the Form B, which is our receipt of when we receive those items. And then the next few pages are the explanation and the bill of lading. Bill of lading would be used if this product that we were ordering needed to be transported from a warehouse, sent in a truck, and the bill of lading is that way of saying, you know, they received it one place, transferred it to the other place, and that's before the requester receives those items. Let's say we had a disaster and we were going to order some cleanup kits and comfort kits for mass care client casework. How do we get those requests? We're going to use a Form 6409. We're typically going to concentrate again on Form 6409 as the requester and 6409B. The requester is going to fill out this information. It's going to be the DR name if we have one assigned, date. They will get a requisition number from supply. Typically, you're going to start with a 00001. And if you know supply has already gotten this information, it will say copy on here with the stamp. Requester name, title, information, and where it is being delivered. The next area on the form is if you have a stock number, the quantity, how many, and the total quantity. You have a unit of measure here. Typically, we're going to use each because cases can be different sizes, especially something like water. A case of water could be 24, it could be 12, it could be 36. So if we wanted 100 bottles of water, we would put 100 each, and that would be 100 for total quantity. And you could put a description in here if you need it, and the date needed. We never use ASAP. We always want a time or date needed. And you can also put information in the special instructions if you need to clarify. Down here, we're going to have the approver name and their information. Things like the requester and the approver, in lieu of a signature, if we were doing this digitally, if I send it from my American Red Cross email, they're going to know it's from me. This is for smaller items. We're not talking about like a big ticket item. The same goes for the approver. And typically our approvers at the chapter are going to be the DPM or Disaster Program Manager. Once a disaster starts growing, we'll have different signing authorities. These are going to be your approvers. So you might have one for casework, health services, mental health, mass care, sheltering. These will be the people that are allowed to be approvers, aside from the DPM or whoever is the DRO lead. The requisition register is how supply is going to track everything. Typically, again, it's going to start by 0001, 00002, and so on and so forth, with some other information such as when it was received, who requested it, what's the source, if we need a vendor, when it was needed, the status, and any comments. Of course, DR number up top. Then we go on to the three-way match. Three-way match is the original disaster requisition, person requesting it, a receipt if we have to go out and purchase an item from a store or a rental agreement, and then the receipt that the requester received the item, which is again Form 6409B. Copies are filed and sent to Division Region at the end of our DRO. So all this information along on a DRO is tracked and boxed and sent up to headquarters. Getting back to those comfort kits, let's go ahead and fill out a 6409 for them. We might not have a DR name, but we might have an event name. The date we can fill in. We will get a requisition number from supply, requester name, we can go ahead and put in our position here. Let's say I'm mass care, client casework, supervisor, and a phone number. Of how you will be able to be contacted. The delivery information, we could do it at the chapter, or if we were picking them up at the RDOC for our local Palm Beach County, West Palm Beach office. Now we don't have a stock number, we have a quantity. Let's say we want 32 comfort kits. We're going to do 32 each, and that's a total of 32 comfort kits. So right now I don't have the stock number on me, and I would need it by tomorrow. Today's the 19th. We'll say I need it by 3/20/2017. And we'd want an additional 10 cleanup kits. So now we've got our quantities, we've got our description of the item. If we don't always need the stock number, if we don't know it off the top of our heads, we can put in description, and we need further information, and we needed special instructions, to more kind of hone down what to do. We could put that in there. Down here, as like I said, I'm the requester. At this point, I would need the DPM's information in here, and I would get this approved from his email as well, and then it would go to supply. We're just going to put in whatever phone number in these. If we had a procurement string, that would go in here, and that is optional. As we can see, the information on our 6409B, our receipt, would automatically fill as well. So when we receive the items, we ought to put our information down here saying that we received them and turn it back in. At this point, we've requested some items to be delivered to us at the RDOC. This with the information and phone number, this would be the area where it's going to be. This might also be a different person. That's why you have a point of contact name, but it's the requester at the RDOC, and it's been approved by the DPM. We know that because it's been sent by them to supply, where it's received a requisition number and a copy stamp. And on that requisition, we can see the register. We see that when it was received, requisition number, requested by who, warehouse, WHS, which is now a staging area, what it was, time, and delivery location. So this is all done by supply, but we want to get our items. So this information is then processed, and this form with the copy and requisition number will be sent to the staging area or warehouse for those items to then be taken out and delivered to the RDOC. When the requester receives their goods, they can go ahead and use that form 6409B. And we know our requisition number is number 100001. We have our items, no discrepancy in the delivery, they weren't short or changes, and we know it's us, so we put in there our name and signature, date, group, time of arrival, and then we go ahead and submit this supply. Let's go ahead and review what exactly we just did. So requester fills out the 6409A, the approver fills out their portion of 6409A, they go ahead and give that to or email that to supply, who receives that 6409A, reviews it, processes it, and then sends the request to wherever it's going. In our case, it went to the staging area or warehouse, and it was taken out of on-hand inventory. Those goods were delivered to the requester, and at that point, the requester filled out the 6409B and returned to supply for a three-way match. So again, using a 6409, it's as easy as filling out pages 1 and 3, getting it approved, and having your approver send it to supply.